we'll discuss about the HANA security, right? SAP HANA security part, SAP HANA security here. So why we need a security? What is the HANA security here? So database security, I mean to say database security here. So SAP HANA security is protecting the important and the confidential data from the unauthorized access. So, it is ensures that we are following the standards, company policies. So we are meeting the company policies and as per requirement here, right? So, here, why? Because if you don't have the user ID and password, so then there will be a problem here, right? Why? Because everybody using the system user, everybody is using the system user. If someone deletes something, how that will be tracked, right? There is no way to track that one, right? So that is the reason we have the user creations, role creations, and all those things are available in the HANA database level. Means the database level security is the very important here. DB level security is the very important here. DB level security is the very important here, so that we can protect the data. Why? Because every data which is coming from the application, which will store the data inside of the database level tables. So if you protect the data without accessing any other unauthorized persons or hackers, that will be a great, right? So if you give the public level, public access, what will happen? Everybody can access the data. Suppose if the database is our accounts database, our HANA database, so maybe banking accounts database, banking server, then all the accounts, financial, everything will be stored into the servers itself only. So that will create a problem, right? So that's the reason, to avoid that type of unauthorized access, we can use the HANA security features to create the individual user IDs and everything here, right? So here, what are the features in HANA security here? So what SAP HANA providing the security related features here? Here the futures perspective here. One is the one is the user and the role management. So we have the user and role management concept here, right? And the second one, user and role management concept here. Also, we have the authorization concept in the HANA futures. These all are the futures here. Authorization management, authorization, then authentication, authorization, authentication, then encryption of the data, encryption, right? Encryption here, encryption of persistency layer, persistency encryption of, persistency, persistence layer here, encryption of persistency layer, which means data folder and log folder. That folder is called the, and also encryption of the network layer here. So encryption of, network layer, encryption of network layer here. So these are the common HANA security related features here, right? Common HANA security related features here, right? So here, because HANA SAP is a three-tier architecture: OS level, presentation layer, application layer security, database level security we have here. All the SAP applications will connect to the database only with the help of one technical user or database administrator. It will connect it. So end users, end users means business users, there is no requirement to connect to the database, directly access the database or database server here. Only we as a administrator, we as a basis team, we will only connect to the database to check the status and other etc related activities here, right? Other etc related activities here, right? So that is the user ID password based here. User ID password means we need the user ID and password, to log into the database. Then once the user ID password you having, once you log into the system, You cannot directly access the all the tabs, whatever system user. System user is the super user. It contains the all the roles and responsibilities, all the wider access it has, so that you can access any tab, any feature, anything here. But not like that your own user. Your own user is, there is a user ID password based concept, right? Authentication. So when you are logging to the database level, so there is a authentication concept here, authentication. So data user, so when you are just after that, once you log into the, once you log into the database level, you are should be a authorized person to access that that tab, that functionality, that menu, that options, that object, that table. You should be a authorized person here. You should be a authorized persons here. You should have the authorized persons here, right? So then, so here, what we have to do now, let's start creating the users. There is a security tab here. If you see the security tab here, here we have the users tab here. You expand the users tab here, it will display the what are the current users are there in the system. What are the current users are there in the system? It will give the information. Then right click on the users tab here. So click on the new user. Click on the new user here. So only database level access is required. Only specific people, either basis team or developers is required. But business users or end users, they do, business users or end users, they don't require access to the, so this functionalities here, they don't require access to the this functionalities access here, right? So that is what we have to do it here. See here, while creating the user, you have the username, then you need to enter the username, then the password you have to enter it here. The password you have to enter it here, right? So username failed. Authentication, there are multiple ways you can authenticate the database. You can use the user ID and password, or SAML means SAML means SSO concept. SSO concept with JDBC, with ODBC, you can other identity provider you can access it. SAP logon ticket. SAP logon ticket is like a logon ticket, assertion ticket, which is issued to the user while creating the ticket. The user, it will be means with certificate based authentication here. So logon ticket and SM tickets are the certificate based authentication. This is also X.509 certificate based authentication mechanisms we are using. Kerberos mechanism, external ID we are using. So these are the authentication features here. So one is the username. Second one is the authentication. Authentication here. Authentication. Authentication means these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 type of authentication methods are there. Kerberos, user ID and password, security, SAML mechanism, and logon tickets, assertion ticket, X.509 certificates here. X.509 certificates here. Right? So these things we have to maintain in the database level here. If you give the user ID and password, while logging to the HANA database, you have to use the user ID and password based authentication here. Valid from, valid to, and everything you have to do it here, right? So this is the, these are the authorization fields here. Authorization here, right? This is the authorization block. This is the, so you have user ID and password, but what you want to access here? So privileges, what you want to access here, these are the privileges boxes here. Means what privileges, even though you have access to the SAP system, but even though you have access to the SAP or HANA database, but what you are trying to access, you will log into the system with user ID password, but after that you need to execute the some object, some transaction code, some table, something you have to execute it. So if you don't have the authorization, this is the authorization, right? So we have the authentication, authorization available. If you don't have the authorization, what will happen, right? Let's see now. I'm creating the my own user. Ravi is the user I have created here. As soon as in the tenant database, I have created the Ravi user here. Ravi created here. Ravi user you have created here, right? So here just right click on the, so now I will log in with the Ravi user here, right? So just okay. just user and password you created, but you have not assigned any authorization here, right? So Ravi user here, right? So then I'm using the password to log into the system. Then it will ask the enter the old password. Then you can reset the password by your own. Okay, you have done the resetting the password here. You have done the resetting the password here. So that's done, right? So that is done now here. So user is created, right? Now user is created, Ravi user is created. Now let's try to open the Ravi user now. You see whether you will get any issues, whether you will be able to access the all the transactions or not. Now you will get the clear picture here.
Sir, hi sir.
Yes,
Sir, we need to create the user under the tenant DB or system DB, sir.
both we can create it, but there is no use of creating the system DB. Only tenant we have the data, only system DB user is required.
Okay. So we need to create a user under the tenant DB only.
Yes, right. So you can see here, so cannot open the authorization editor. You don't have the required privileges. So which means you have user ID password, but you don't have the required privileges. You don't have the required privileges in the HANA database to access the any table, any tabs or anything. You don't have the required privileges. So in that case, what we have to do in that case, right? So then we need to create the privileges here. So as per the, so this one, so you have this one here, Ravi created, but you don't have assigned any privileges here. This is the privileges box here. So here, there the types of privileges are there in SAP here, right? There are the types of privileges here. Types of privileges are there here. Types of privileges here. Types of privileges are there here. So the types of privileges are, one is the system privileges here. System privileges here, right? You have the system privileges, then object level privileges, then the third one is the analytical privileges here. So then the fourth one is the package on privileges here. Okay, so the fifth one, the application privileges. So the sixth one, application privileges and privileges on users here. The sixth one, the privileges. So privileges on user here. So there are the 6 types of privileges are there here. You see here, there is a so system privileges, object privileges, analytical privileges, package privileges, application privileges, privileges on users, and granted roles. Roles means the roles already created, directly you can assign the role. Role is a collection of privileges, authorization are called the role concept. So that role directly you can assign to the user instead of directly assigning the privileges to the user. Privileges directly we can assign to the user, or we can create the role. That role we can assign to the privileges we can assign to the role. That role we can assign to the users as well here. Either directly or indirectly we can assign it here. Directly or indirectly we can assign it here, right? So granted roles, system privileges, object privileges, and analytical privileges here. So what is mean by system privileges here? System level authorization. System privileges means suppose it will control the system related activities here. It will control the system related activities, control the normal system activities. It will control the normal system activities here. One is the suppose like audit read, backup admin, catalog read, catalog. These all are the system related functionalities here. system related functionalities. It control the system activities. Using this system privileges, we can perform the system activities. Using the system privileges, you can perform the activities. You can perform the activities here. Using the system privileges, you can perform the activities here. So like suppose if you are creating the user for auditors, then you need to assign the audit admin role, audit operator, backup, catalog, DB administrator, all those things. Suppose if you assign the DBA catalog role, just click on the save button here. Then user can do this user can do the only DBA related functionalities. He can perform it here. That is called the catalog read, which means he can read the catalogs here. You can read the catalogs here in the system, right? You can read the catalogs in the system here. That is called the catalog read permissions. We can do that one. Right? So here, so you can just see here. Now we are able to open. Previously, we were unable to open even administration tabs also. Now we are able to open the tabs because of, so see here, now we are able to open the even administration tabs we have able to open. Because catalog read are the privileges, the system privileges assigned to the my user. So that's the reason whatever the this role, this privileges having the permission, you can only access the that related tabs here. So system read, system box, there are many things are there default one. So you can use the default things to access the roles, to access the system related data here, right? That is the system privileges. System privileges means it will control the normal system activities. System privileges like a, if you want to create the schema, if you want to managing the role, user, backups, license, version, audit, exploring, content, data, something like you need to have the system privileges here. The next one is called the object privileges. Object privileges here. Object privileges means, so SQL privileges here means data level objects. Object means one table. Table in the database level, we will call it as the object. Object means either it's a table, or data, structure, program, structure. All those things will comes under the user. That is called the object. Object, we will all will comes under the object list only. So in that object level permissions here. So suppose if you want to create the object, if you want to insert the data, if you want to select the data, if you want to drop, delete, basically it's a DDL and DML statements here. Object level privilege means DDL and DML statements here, right? So that is the privileges can be granted to other catalog objects, right? Suppose, so the object means table level. So objects are tables are available under the schema. So those tables data we can give it to the here. Suppose we have some customs table, right? Z training table. So you want to give the access to the Z training here. Then you can give the access to the Z training table. You can give the access to the here object. So which means, so Ravi user can only access the Z training related tables in the database level. He can only access the Z training access. He can assign here, right? That is what privileges you have assigned here. That is the privilege you have assigned it to the here, right? That is the, so object system means system related activities here, right? Object privileges. Object privileges means so tables, data, so creations, deletions, those are the objects. So that is called the object privileges here. Object privileges here, right? Object privileges here. Then analytical privileges here. Analytical privileges are used to analytics packages here. Used to read access on the data. It only used to read access on the data. Analytical privileges means read only access the data here. Read only access. There are some analytical privileges. So like attribute analytical calculations views is for the query processing, executing the queries, granting the permissions to the query data, same information, roles, that type of things will comes under the analytical privileges here. Analytical privileges here. That analytical privileges we will assign to the here. Right? Next one is called the package privileges. Package. So the developers will create the packages. The developers will create the packages. We need access to that packages. We will use the package privileges here. Application privileges. Application privileges are like a HANA access related applications. HANA access related applications. We will give the access here. So sometimes what will happen, the developers will use the some development activities, development activities like HANA, using the HANA database, they will create the access, all those things they will develop it here. All those things they will use it here. That's called the application privileges. Right? Privileges on users here. That means debugger access. Privileges on user, debugger access to the user here for troubleshooting purpose. Right? So these are the privileges are there which we can assign to the users here, which we can assign to the users here. Here mainly system privileges and object privileges are very important here, right? So remaining all are the not much that much important here. System privileges, it will control the entire system operations. Object privileges, so inside of the data available in the tables are available under schemas are available under catalog, right? So it will control the normal system operations and everything. It will perform it here, right? It will perform the all the operations in the system here, all the operations. Okay. So this is the way we have to create the users, right? And also they are the, to access the database, users are required. So there are the two types of users. While creating the users, there are the two types of users here, right? One is the, normally if you see here, when you're creating the users here, you can see the two types of users here, right? One is the, so normal user, administrator or business users, we can create it. One more is the restricted user. So restricted user cannot be create the data of object. Restricted means is restricted, cannot view the database object, we cannot create it database view the data. User restricted to, user connects to the database HTTP only restricted users here, right? So that is the restricted data here. Normal user means standard user here, either administrator user or super administrator user here. He has the access the data, depends upon the role here. Depends upon the role, you will get the access to the systems here, access to the system here, right? So that is the way we need to create the users, right? So then assign the object. Suppose here are generating the roles concept also there in the users tab here. You can see the users and there is a role means what actions he is going to perform. We have already default roles are available. We can assign the default roles. Then user is not happy with the default roles, not user business. Then we can create the, so custom role we can create it. The custom roles we can create it here. Custom roles we can create it here by entering the role name. Suppose like the role name is called the, so jet basis role I am creating here. So what the privileges is required for the custom role here? What is going to, every user, instead of editing all those things, we can create the one role. That role we can define it here. That role we can define it here. Then click on the OK button. The roles will be assigned here. The role will be assigned to the users here, right? The role creation. Now you created the role. This role you can assign to the users. That role you can assign to the users here. Role creation is done. That role we can create, that role we can assign to the users, so that directly we can assign to the users there, right? Directly we can assign to the users. Suppose example, here you can go, here we have the option, right? Not that one, here generated roles, click on the create. Now you created the jet basis role you created. Now jet basis is available here, see here. Done.
For this, immediately it will impact affect, sir.
Yeah, immediately. immediately it will impact.
Any other privileges which we give package and application that does any required system mounts or
Yeah, some developers they have to do the some analytical privileges system of something they have to create it. Once they create it, they will assign to the respective users. So which suppose the developer they will you create the privileges in the content tab. It's a purely development activity. They will create it. After creation, so some other user also they want to use these privileges. Then this privileges access we have to assign to the developer. So developer can access the content tab, some privileges. So you can only access the content tab and you can do the these regular activities. You can perform it here. Regular activities, so we can perform it.
Is there any default role for developers while
Moderator.
creating?
Yeah, we have the default roles. Already the roles are there here. This is a modeling for the development. Monitoring is for the our monitoring. Content admin. So like that, we have the default roles are available here. This
So
default role,
normally, if we get a request to create one developer user, so while creating a developer user,
you can assign
which
the
role we should
modeling.
just
Modeling.
mod? Okay.
Yeah, modeling role. Just assign the modeling role.
can we clone here any role here? Can we clone the
We can
users?
copy, instead of creating the new role, just we can copy this user to so other role we can create it and we can assign this one. Yeah, that's possible. We can create.
My question is here because some of the user, if a new developer has joined, he'll ask, could you please copy, I mean, provide the roles of the same with this user? What are the access he had? Could you please provide me the roles and access to similar way? So can we clone the users as well here?
Clone the users. Cloning the
Yeah.
users means
Copy,
Um,
while creating the new user,
copying the
yeah.
user.
Copy option is there. Copy. We can copy the users also here. So there is an option. I want to copy this user. Come same. Suppose I want to create the user, same copy of the Ravi user. Then right click. So then you will get the option like copy user. Right? Copy user. So just we can copy the what. Suppose this is the administrator role. So administrator user. So I want to copy similar roles to the my user. Right click and copy it. Then just to create the
Change the name, yeah.
yeah, you can create it, you can assign the password, then whatever he is having, he will get the access.
so here it's not showing any role in the role tab.
Did I assign anything? Okay. Copy the user.
Maybe this Ravi user is having
SAP
two roles,
basis,
I guess.
I mean, jet basis, I think we have like.
Z1.
Yeah, I think it's not copying the user, only you. Actually, copying means you should copy all, but it's not copying.
Yeah, normally in SAP, normal
You should
in
copy the
front end.
all.
Yeah.
Let me check in the Ravi user. Yeah, it has the jet basis, some system privileges, object privileges, this one. So, but here, it's not cloning. Only user is getting copied, but not the roles. Actually, it should copy the roles as well. So it's not copying the roles. Only just user is getting copied. User settings and everything getting copied. But whatever the user is assigned roles, it's not done in one thing we have to assign the manually. So that is what we have to do.
Sir, in the roles, sir, we can see one role as a public. That means full access, sir.
No, public level I mean just display access. Public means just display level, not the full. Every user will get the public access only. So related schema, you will get the access.
Okay.
No, sir, in application level, we have SO53, SO56. Like in HANA Studio, we have anything like that, sir?
No, nothing. Here, if user is facing the issue, then respect to system privileges, we have to assign. So what is the system privilege we have to assign here? So maybe here logs we need to check it out. Here it will tell us the what is the exact error and everything here. So that role we have to assign to the user. From other user to this user we have to assign. You can see each security tab we have the roles tab. By default roles are available. We can use it, or we can also create the custom user, custom role, custom and we can assign to the users. So users we can assign to the users. So that this user can only access the whatever the roles you have given. You can only access the that level of authorizations. You will get it out. So one more important thing is the security part here. You can see security. So users and role creation normally anything, either SAP level or DB level, security team will take care of that part, right? Security team, each and organization, there is separate security team, so they will take care of the users creations and everything here. But some organizations, even they don't know, some organization we have to manage it here. That depends. So sometimes we may have to password policies. We have some those of the database level. We have to put the more complex passwords, like how many alphabets, initial password, user inactivity, uppercase, how many letters. So these are the mixed kind of things, like minimum password length 6, and then what number of failures. If the 6 attempts the user wrong password, then 7 attempts it will be failed. You have not used the last used passwords, 5 used passwords should not use it here. So then if you want to put the password in the blacklist, suppose some people what they will do, some easily guessable passwords, basis 123, India 123, so something like that they will keep it. So hackers simply recognize these users here. So that's why we keep these users into the passwords into the these words into the blacklisted, so no one cannot access anything here. Users cannot access the, so these things here means, so they cannot set these passwords. Whatever the passwords you are defining here, these passwords they cannot use it here.
So
So
can we unlock the user here?
yeah, we can unlock it. So here SAML2 provider is a different SSO configuration purpose, data volume encryption. So normally as part of the save point, data volume will be created, right? As part of the encryption, as part of the security, as part of the save point, data will be moved from the main memory to disk format. Disk means /data folder. Means your passwords, your company accounts, everything is sharing into the your database level, right? So, but so suppose if someone hacks our system, he can theft the data, you can see the passwords and everything here in the database level. To avoid this type of things here, we can just check the, so we can put the, to avoid this type of things, we can put the some passwords into the blacklisted. Also data volume encryption, which means suppose example as I mentioned here. So as part of the save point, data will be moved from the main memory to disk. So means the same passwords will be moved to the disk as well. If the user hacked that system, so some you can see the passwords. That is the one. So to avoid this one, we can also use the encryption. If you do the encryption, what will happen? If you do the encryption, what will happen? That will not be, so the passwords will not be, confidential data will not be visible to the any others except system. That's what we have to do it here. Now encryption is running here, right? Auditing, password policies here. If you want to enable the auditing, some of the security team in the production, they will enable the audit logs, what users are doing, what activities they are deleting, enabling all those things. So they will enable it. So we have to enable the audit logs. The policy, we need to set it out. Suppose policy, I want to track the all the audit actions here. I want to track the all the audit actions here. Then auditing related actions here. Then here we need to set the that audit policy here, right? The policy is enabled. So which is means it is tracking the all the passwords, all the auditing level passwords. It's enabling here. All the passwords it's enabling here, right? You want only emergency level, you only critical level, that you can set it out here, right?
So,
Pass.
so in live, this auditing option is enabled. They will enable the auditing option.
Especially for the banking sector, finance servers, they will enable the auditing. Every year, 1 year, the auditing will run, right? During the
Okay.
auditing fine, they will detect the some issues. So that's why, so they will find, they will do this kind of things.
So that too on client requirement basis only they will
Based
enable.
upon the client requirement, not all the ways. So why? Because based upon only for production,
Do-
that is why? Because to auditing means, suppose system level in the 1 year time, not sure what they have done, whether they deleted something or not. We are not sure. So they will check the logs. So for that one, we have to enable the audit logs, so that the
do-
auditors will perform the auditing. So if something wrong, they will take it different way.
Does this option, impact the DB performance?
Auditing option will not impact, but there is some log files will be created. So, but that is not that much impact. It won't create the much impact, but only the space filling, that type of things will create it here.
Okay, okay, got it.
So maybe we want to lock the user, unlock the user, something like that. This user is locked, right? So then we can unlock the user as well here. You can delete the user as well. Password reset. Suppose if you set this button, unlock, deactivate the user, then user is deactivated. See here, user got deactivated here.
So if
So
a user left the company, we can do this, right? Deactivation
yes,
instead of
deactivation. Yeah, deactivation. Just we can do the deactivation. After that, we can delete it here. Now see, user has been deactivated. Okay. This is about the small portion of the HANA security topic here, right? So roles already there, users already there. So we have created, you can create the number of users instead of logging to the system user, super user. You can create your own user, then log into the system and do the practice. Okay. You fine, right?